I'm really sad we didn't get a chance to talk about him running half naked in Kansas City. We'll have to save that for another episode.
Wow, we would have never believed this. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Google. Go out there and listen to us. So we're excited about it. We're glad you're excited about it too.
Welcome to another episode of Muscle Matters. I am here with the wonderful Tom. I mean, this is the way it rolls off your tongue. Tom Touchtone.
Hey, we got our friend Alec Wons here. We've done a lunch break, Steve, and we've done a Ministry Matters. This young man has lived a long life at 24.
Isn't that the best life to live though at 24?
When you're young, I mean, I love his mindset because he's already talking about wanting to help people through the experiences that he's garnered through writing, being an author, working with first responders, working with prospective NFL athletes, and being a D1 soccer player, and also being a manager. So, young man's had a lot of.
That's a lot for 24. Now you said he wrote a book.
He wrote a book, Steve. Have you wrote a book?
I read one, I think.
I know. So I'm really impressed with him.
Yes.
You know, I love his thought process, and you know, as he jumps in here, you know, we're looking forward to having you back on Muscle Matters, because Steve and I believe muscles do matter, and the older you get, they keep mattering.
Yes, matters to stand up out of the chair.
Yes, it does. You have to be more functional nowadays. When you're 24, Alex, you can really take
Just rub some dirt on it.
you just take a licking and keep on ticking. And so it is. So, hey, talk to us about how you prepare. I know you know what was cool also, Steve, is that his dad, and I think the world of your dad. You can tell him I said that. His dad, him and his dad and his mother were getting a divorce. So in order for his dad to spend more time with his boys, he started coaching soccer, which is a sport your dad never played, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I love that intent, saying I've got to find a way to spend time with my boys, so I'm going to coach soccer. That wouldn't just spring up in my mind.
Well, it's a good way to what he's done, like his driving force of doing so many things. The foundation was probably laid watching your father step out and do something that he's never done before to bond with you.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yes.
And so that gave him the love for soccer. So tell us when you started realizing that the stronger you were, the better you performed, and what you did to bring that into your competitive soccer life.
Yeah, so I think it started being like middle school is when I started to really take like working out and training a lot more seriously, because in my mind it's like, oh, if you want to be a better athlete, you want to be stronger, faster, you go lift weights, you go run. And it's something I just ended up I loved it. I used it to train. I used it as an outlet. It was kind of everything that I lived and breathed for those 15 years while I was still playing, and it's still a huge part of my life today. I mean, I was a strength and conditioning coach, so I kind of majored in for school, and I still do coaching on the side here. So it's definitely a passion and love of mine. But it was also an obsession for a very large point in my life, where working out to the point of getting stress fractures, not eating enough calories. It's never officially diagnosed by a doctor, but it sounded like it was like athlete anorexia in a way.
We're familiar with
those
that.
Things like you just you never think, like, you always hear like you should work out, you should like not eat as much. You think like it's good for you, but I took it to another extreme, which was obviously not the healthiest.
So what would you say, as you got a passion for, or Stevie and I refer to it as iron poisoning?
Yes.
You got iron poisoning in middle school. And what did you do for the young Alec Wons in middle school? When as you started doing it, did you recognize your play improving as you started to add into it some different physical movements? And what were those physical movements you added?
Yeah, so all I had in middle school when I worked out, I had a pull-up bar, like one of those that you hang in the doorways in your house, like a 10-pound medicine ball, a jump rope, and like a set of 25-pound dumbbells. And that's all I had for about like 3 years. And just you get to the points where you just like went from like building strength to just crushing yourself with different endurance stuff. and then started lifting more weights in high school and just fell in love with it because it helped me be better at soccer, but it also like helped develop my physique. And I mean, like the way you look when you're lifting weights. But I mean, one other thing for me is I had really bad acne in high school, and like I did not feel like I was like attractive or like worthy in a way. Always liked girls, but I just didn't feel like I ever got any like attention. And I think I heard one time someone was like, "Oh, like he has a really good like body." So at that point, I had tied like my self worth to like my body image in a way. So that also played a part in it as well. I thought like, for example, like if I didn't have like muscle, like would I be worthy of attracting someone else in a way?
Wow, that does hit young guys. He said he had all the hot topics that you and I've always talked about.
Yes.
You know, guys want to sport the big arms, and I think nowadays legs are really popular.
Yes.
And you got a set of wheels on you, and you got some cows, or you got a herd that you always walk in with. But as Alec, you're there. I like the fact that you've admitted that there was a negative connotation to what you're perceiving. And I think a lot of times we get into this industry because of the way we like the interaction.
The shell.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I have a good friend. His name's Bob Paris, and Bob we did a lot of things on the stage across the world. But he wrote a book called The Gorilla Suit, and it was talking about the outward appearance versus the inside guy.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed that with Bobby. And but it was so true. You hit all the hot topics. It's what keeps driving us. So when you got into high school, what movements did you find helped you more on the soccer field? Because we can all say squats.
Yes.
We can always say that. Did you have anybody that helped you, coaches, high school coaches, that said, this is going to be a better exercise for soccer, or did it just all blend in?
So I was just generally drawn to just doing anything and everything to kind of just be fitter, healthier. There was definitely box jumps. So I kind of got into the academy we talked about before. We had like strength coaches for the academy. So really kind of specialized in those workouts and kind of tailoring them towards maybe doing more battle ropes or doing more box jumps or doing different like bear crawls, stuff that could still help build strength. I mean, along with just squatting in general to kind of help your like vertical jump. So those were definitely more applicable, but I just loved like all of it. Didn't matter if it was the hardest workout, whatever it was, if it was running long distance. I was a goalkeeper and I was crushing guys and like endurance stuff. I mean, which I didn't need to be and probably didn't help my explosive movements. But I mean, once again, I was just training hard and not the smartest back then.
So, Steve, do you ever work with any soccer players?
No, I honestly can say that's one of the few athletes I haven't come across because they normally, that's what I was going to say, you guys normally at the club level, you guys have somebody there that's kind of directing you at the club level. So you were more, I would just assume that you were more of a club soccer player than a high school soccer player because I know when I was coming up, most of the really good soccer players did not play for their high schools. They played for clubs. Am I correct?
Yep, that's what it was.
Yeah, so once they hit that club level, there's actually, it's a little more
specific.
Yeah, so when he was saying box jumps and rope jumps, I was like, oh, he's in club. All right, as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, that's the club.
Yeah.
There's no way that's your high school coach because your high school coach tells you, go rub some dirt, bench press 5 times, and he goes someplace and has a chew.
Yeah. So did you miss out on anything by not playing high school soccer? Do you feel?
I mean, yeah, I didn't have a social life in high school at all. I mean, I got to school like right as the bell was ringing. Over lunch, I was doing my homework in the library, and as soon as the bell rang, I was the first one running out the door. Then I'd go drive to practice, where I'd probably get there at 2:45, and I'd stay till about 8 o'clock. Whether it was just training on the field, whether it was lifting weights, whether it was trying to do the best for your body to recover. And we travel on the weekends across the country to play games, so I didn't really have much of a social life in high school.
Now, club soccer is almost a 365 times a year type of environment, right? You guys really, I don't, like most of the club players I know, they really don't seem to get a day off. It's like you guys have a season after a season after a season after a season. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's what exactly was. So we had like, the summer you get about 3 weeks, and then over winter break you got about 2 weeks. And other than that, you're going, whether it's playing outdoors, you're playing futsal, which is kind of like indoor soccer on a basketball court. So like 2 national championships there. But otherwise, then it's back outdoors in the spring. So yeah, just constant year round because they're training you to be a professional. They're investing in you, time, money, resources. So they expect for you to do the same in return.
2 national championships?
Yep.
Goalkeeper, right?
Yeah.
Impressive.
I like that. So let me dig a little deeper. So you ended up with some stress fracture injuries on your body, and being a coach yourself. So a young man comes to you. Let's say the older Alec comes to the younger Alec in high school. What would be some of the advice that you would give the younger Alec right now? And I'm not talking about we've all heard the song, you know.
If I knew then what I know now.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, what would you change for you to help you maybe elongate your college career?
I would do 2 things. I'd one show that like rest is essential and it's better than just training and continuing to push and break down your body. You have to rest to allow it to build up. The second one is be a little more sport specific. Don't just like try and lift heavy and run far. It wasn't adding up now I know what it is like to program for strength, for endurance, for the specific adaptations you want. But back then I just wasn't sticking to really a plan. I was kind of just doing anything.
What about the sports anorexia? Would you have mentioned to yourself food's important?
Yeah, I would have definitely done that. I just thought I get to the point where like during practice, we'd always weigh ourselves before practice and after to kind of see how much you'd have to drink for hydration afterwards. And I literally made a competition with myself. It'd be like, how much weight can I lose each session? And sometimes you'd come back, and if it was like 5 pounds of like water weight in like the humid weather in Kansas City, I'd be like, oh, that's good. But like it was just such the wrong mentality. So definitely go back and change quite a bit there.
Real quick, you're weighing yourself. Was that part of the club thing where you had to be a certain weight to play your position, or was that just a personal?
So you didn't have to be a certain. The weight thing was strictly for hydration, because like you get dehydrated when you work out, and you have a much greater chance of injury when you're dehydrated. But we did have body fat testing. So you do like skin fold. They wanted you to be at a certain body fat percentage level, like ballpark ranges, to kind of be at while you were playing.
Would that be something that you would recommend that other kids do or kind of back away from? Because, I think we've all been through the body fat percentage.
It really leads to some sort of, especially when you're not understanding, it leads to some sort of anorexia.
Well, you're not always performing your best.
Yes.
At a low body weight. There's certain metabolic things that change, because my experience when I was under 1%, because that's where I used to have to be, you're not okay. You're not okay. I wasn't even okay beyond 6%. I wasn't okay. I wasn't thinking. I wasn't thinking correctly. I wasn't even performing correctly. It was just a whole different gig. But it wasn't helping that I was,
Speaking of you
doing crazy stuff.
Can I hit you with a double question? What percentage of body fat do they want you at?
I think anything lower the better. I think they were like, if you could huggle like around like the single digits in a way, like maybe late single digits, like 8 or 9, maybe up to like 12. I think it was like, you want to be above 12. I was sub 5. I think I was in the 4s for a little bit. And once again, like a goalkeeper there. So it was just, there wasn't really a need for that. And we in high school, that everyone's numbers were slapped up on a wall so you could see everybody's. And I remember being in college, I couldn't even know my own. Like, you got tested and you wouldn't even know. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, we just went from this environment where everybody knows everybody's to now I can't even know my own. And that just really kind of showed, like, when you kind of do these things when you're younger, like if it's not maybe dealt with in the proper way, it can really maybe like affect you in a way.
Well, do you find that it affected? If we go into your book, Conquer Yourself, you talked about dealing with things and writing them on paper as therapy. He said he didn't like writing in school, Steve, but when he got to the point where he wrote the book, it was therapy. Because it's like you and I backtracking in our career going, They wouldn't do that. I mean, it's like confessing almost.
Yes.
The Bible says if you want to get healed, confess.
Yes.
And if you want to get healed, confess it to others. So it's almost like that point where you're saying that wasn't good for. I give my story, Steve. I
Yes.
tell people, hey, the young Tommy was screwed up. I just didn't know how to get unscrewed up. I didn't know how to loosen the screws. But so as you're out there, so so did that give you some freedom? Some of the things like plastering your body fat percentage in high school, competing with yourself and others.
That's crazy.
To even getting to the point where think about the high school coach's mentality. They want to pitch you against each other.
Yeah, no, I agree. But as soon as he said that, I was like, that is crazy.
Yeah. Because I mean, we all know that having a low body fat is like living paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
Meal to meal.
Yes.
And you're not any good.
Especially in high school.
Yes. And after you come out of practice, you've dug a hole that you got to fill. And if you're still not filling the hole, either hydration wise or nutrition wise.
And soccer is a combination of explosive and endurance.
And those rascals, you guys hit each other on the field too. It's a contact sport, right? Yeah, I watch.
Yeah, I mean, some people go down easier than others. But.
Oh, like the shotgun blast for the yellow card?
Did you ever get kicked out of a game, Alec?
Yeah, I did. It was just a moment. Yeah, it was just
a moment.
Once again, just keeping your cool. But yes, it did happen.
Did the other guy deserve it, or did he just get the wrath of Alec?
Man, I think we were just getting our butts whooped that game. And there was like one play he scored, and he was kind of right above me, and I just grabbed his leg and pulled it out from under him. And it was just one of those just stupid moments where you get thrown out of the game. And it was just that was oh, I learned my lesson there. You don't have to do that. And just kind of just a reaction for later in life, just take a second, take a breath. It's not worth what you're about ready to do.
Well, one of the things that we would get asked a lot, and I know Steve's story, is when they see a bigger guy, they want to ask you to come move their house and stuff. They always like to pitch in. And so Steve was a bouncer for so many years. And Steve learned to hold his school pretty good. Because every once in a while you just want to slip it, right? Slip the punch.
Well, as soon as he said, the guy stood over him. I was like, oh, he's in hands reach. I was trying to figure if you were cleats high or headbutt. I was trying to figure out which one, if it was cleats high or headbutting. And oh, he's in orange reach.
I like that. So in your book, and do you outline anything physical for people? Do you talk about your academia with to help somebody's mental mindset? Because we know that working out, we get the endorphins going. But do you specifically tell people things to do to help them with their mental mindset in your book?
Yeah, I have a culmination of different things that evolve from physical, mental, emotional. I mean, the mental, there's a couple things that my college coach used to say. We had the 3 Ps and the 3 Qs. And it was plan, prepare, perform, and then quality, quickness, quantity. It's kind of no matter what you're about ready to do, regarding the 3 Ps, kind of plan what you're about to do, prepare for what you're about to do so you can perform. It's just almost not having a plan is having a plan to fail. And then if you're going to do something right, have good quality before you start doing it quicker, and then you can do more of it. So it's just really simple acronyms that were used in soccer. And sometimes we were oh, we're hewing the 3 Ps and Qs again. But when you kind of leave the sports world, you're wow, this is applicable to a lot of spaces in life. And for me personally, I know whether it was trying to have the lowest body fat, was trying to have the best grades, do the best quota at work, it's I was always had this constant pressure to feel I had to be the best. And while it's good to have drive, you also have to take your foot off the gas every now and then a little bit, so you don't burn yourself out and just have a tailspin.
How did you find the balance with that once you graduated from college? Because I know we've had Alec on lunch break in Ministry Matters, where he talks about his book. But in Ministry Matters, you talked about that you were, it sounded like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, so correct me because you can. You were almost disillusioned with the next step of the profession that you prepared for. Was that a good assumption on my part?
Yeah, I just felt everything up to that point, I thought I had like life figured out. And then at that point, when stuff didn't start going as planned, it was kind of hard because other than that, I could normally plan for stuff. There'd been a couple bumps, but not anything like too major. And then it was just a really good wake up call for me to like, you can have plans for a lot of things and they can fall apart. And it just kind of reiterates the point that life is probably about 10% of what you can control, which is yourself, and then 90% how you react to every other situation going on in life.
What part? Because you said that you had prepared a career to help people with their performance, and you got a great job working. And the place was in Arizona. What was it called?
So I was working at Exos down in Arizona, and they'd opened up a satellite facility up here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, to try and attract a similar clientele. They promised like world class facilities, like decent hours, um, good like benefits in a way, and it just everything kind of went up. It ended up going down and under. I left a couple months before it actually ended up, before a lot of people ended up getting kind of let go. So I kind of saw the writing on the wall there, but it was just like, wow, like some things like can be great on paper, but actually not play out action wise.
Yeah. So as you're working with the athlete, what point in your mind did you say, this isn't something that I want to keep doing? Because you were helping people reach their physical goals. That's what you do, Steve.
Yes.
You know, you're always helping people reach their physical goals. I don't think Mike Harvey is like participating in the plan. You know, he's probably not even listening to us, but I don't know if he's participating in the plans. So I think you got to easy out on that one.
I love him.
He's peeking through the door. So as you were participating with these NFL athletes, and you were saying that they're your age, and they were quick, they were explosive, and you were helping them reach their goals, what made you think that, hey, this physical aspect of me helping others train isn't something that I see myself continuing on? Well, would that because the Milwaukee thing kind of collapsed? Or was there a thought earlier that, hey, I got something deeper to do, or something, you know, I mean, in people's mind might be a bigger step? What was it in Alec's
I
mind?
think the Milwaukee thing was just kind of like a wake up call for me. I mean, obviously, like as much as the profession is needed, it's not compensated, I feel like, what it should. Um, and the schedules with that, whether you're training with a professional team, that's where more money is. But I mean, I traveled all through high school, all through college, and I was like, I've missed a lot of other pieces of life by doing that. And I didn't really want to kind of start going down the path in life where if you have a family someday, you're always gone, just like you have been for the last 10 years. Um, and it's just kind of a wake up call for me that like I feel like I'm made to like help serve other people, but in a different way. So I mean, I have like a side business kind of right now. It's called like Wons Wellness, where I'll still do fitness programming and kind of wellness plans for like the whole person. It's still kind of like a little fix in a way, but trying to find different ways, like through this book and maybe creating courses to kind of really truly be able to help people in a different way. Since I like the physical aspect, I like helping with the mental aspect, and now it's just kind of trying to combine those two.
Put them all together. So Juan's Wellness. I like the name.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, Juan's Wellness.
It's amazing when you find out time's the most valuable thing in life.
Oh man, isn't it? You know, and think about the time that we spent pushing iron in the
Well,
gym.
I tell that to people all the time when they say they want to do a show, and I'm like, you're not gonna have time to do anything if you want to do it correctly.
So true.
Yeah, there's no room for anything,
Yeah.
and especially when you were training professional athletes, so there's no room for anything.
Each one of them are thinking, I'm the best, and I need all your time, right?
Bingo. It's 3:00 in the morning. I got a question. Well, I'm asleep.
I ate one banana more than I should have today. Well, that's good. So Juan's Wellness. What happens when somebody contacts you for Juan's Wellness? Where do you start?
Yeah, so I kind of like can hop on like my web page, and they can kind of choose like a couple different service options, and I'll kind of schedule like a consultation call where I kind of learn what their goals are, previous injuries, can kind of just learn about them as a person, kind of what motivates them. There's like a Simon Sinek episode. He's like a motivational speaker, like it's called the Golden Circle, and it's kind of finding people's why. Like, okay, like why do you actually want to have a program? And some people might say you have like, I want to lose 10 pounds. But after asking why about 5 or 6 times, it could be that I just want to look better for my spouse, so I kind of feel loved. And it's kind of being able to have the time to create those like deeper connections with people to help them achieve a goal they have for themselves, but also to kind of be a comforting person in their corner there as well. So it's kind of like a holistic approach, which I really do enjoy.
I like that. So, kind of what you do, Steve.
Yeah, the why is always the most important thing. It's funny. I was thinking about that on the way over here. Don't ask me how I went over there. I was thinking about bodybuilding, and my why was like I never cared about the money, and I just wasn't part of my. It wasn't the drive to be Mr. Olympia wasn't about money. I just wanted to be that.
It's a different thought process when you set a goal.
Yes.
It really is. I mean, it's the, and I think, and Alec, jump in on this thought, because Steve and I talk a lot, and I'm older, so I can look backwards and say, it's not worth the time, but lived it. And as you're there and you're still a young man, do you like? Well, I think you already said it. You already said that I didn't want to keep chasing working, towards a goal of helping people achieve their goal and losing out on all the time. You saw it. So,
Yeah.
so there's a time where your value is different. And I like the Wons wellness when you ask people the why,
Yes.
because it's easier to help them when you're really finding out what the true why is. Do you
Yeah, I mean,
find this?
time is like the most valuable asset. Like that's the one thing you can never get back. Like you can lose all your money and get it back. You can go back to the same restaurant, but you'll never get time back. And at that point, it's like there's things I wanted to achieve personally that wouldn't come if I was just clocking in, clocking out. And I was like, if there's a way that I can help more people in a more meaningful way, which is what I've started to kind of roll into, that really kind of excites me in a way that you're able to support yourself, feel fulfilled in your work while helping other people. And it's kind of each experience and job I've had is gonna have been like a stepping stone to kind of help that.
Yeah, I like it. I really kind of zoned in on this Juan's wellness. I mean, there again, I think you've got a tremendous ability to bring in the mental and the physical and help them as they can evaluate where they're at in life and take an approach that a young man has taken and saying, is it worth it? And I think we all can sit here and agree that mental health is a bigger aspect of this than anybody thinks. I mean, there again, I hear a story that I think you and I exemplified, and he's just hearing it from a younger man now, who's got he's caught the clue quicker than we did, Steve. And
Very
I
much.
think, and I'm very proud of you, Alec, for catching the clue, because you can spend a lot of your time still going down the rabbit hole, chasing something that's elusive and not getting into something that's more valuable. I don't know if I
The
said
hamster
that right.
wheel. Yes, just being stuck on the hamster wheel, not realizing you're on a hamster wheel.
Yeah, yeah. And there again, Alec, you've done something that I love, that you're an author, and this author is this book, Conquer Yourself, is going to give you a platform and you've got so many life illustrations that you've already accomplished, and being able to do that. So Steve,
24. That's awesome.
I know. I'm proud of this young man, and I don't believe our journey with him is over, because some of the stuff that he's doing.
He's only 24. He's got more stuff to bring back.
He does. So Alex, talk to somebody if you're talking to the young Alex, and we've got a lot of young Alex in our Muscles Matters, because a lot of-
Definitely talk to the young athlete.
yeah, just finish up our time, because the time has went quickly again, and our director, our producer Alex Howe, is keeping us on track. He's looking at me laughing right now, but he starts to give me hand signals, and I don't know what he's doing. I don't know. Is that 35? I don't know. But
That's fastball.
I don't know. but wrap it up. Talk to the young Alec from the older Alec's perspective, and walk them through where you would like to plug in with their life.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say whether it's bodybuilding or starting a business or whatever you kind of aspire to do, like you can always have your brain kind of fixated on that goal that you want to achieve, but all the time that you're spending there is on the journey. Like look to like stop and smell the roses sometimes and then kind of enjoy where you're at. Look how far you've come and be proud of that. Don't just keep plowing forward. Because that's what we talked about before a little bit, Tom, was you kind of just keep progressing in life, and you look back and you're like, oh, I'm never satisfied with anything. And that's a pretty crappy feeling. So definitely enjoy what you've accomplished. And is it something to be proud of? And at the same time, like, don't always have tunnel vision either, because when you just have your head down, you're going to miss a lot of other things in life. So it's too short not to enjoy it, and just kind of have fun with the process as well. Doesn't mean that you're getting distracted. It just means that I think you actually perform better when you look to kind of bring your head up a little bit.
Steve, as I'm looking at this young man, and you and I know statistics. So he played high school soccer, and then he went on to play on a club team that, as 300 kids tried out, 5 made spots.
2 national champions.
2 national championships, and playing in D1 college soccer. So you have accomplished so much in your young life. And I think there was parts that I talked to so many young ones, and so do you, that as you were sitting in your dorm room or apartment room in Marquette, you probably thought, I haven't accomplished anything. And,
isn't that what he said? Smell the roses?
Yeah. And so as I'm looking at you beat the odds, because there's an odds of high schoolers going on to play college, and then colleges that as you do play, then you get hurt, then being able to rebound. There's are percentages that you've overcome, Alex, that just you've done a good job. If you're my son, I'd say, son, I'm proud of you. So I take that from an older guy.
Very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. It's kind of, I had a lot of expectations, and it's always things that I expected of myself. So didn't even feel like it was a win sometimes. I just felt like it was expected to happen. And if I didn't do it, it was almost a failure in a way. And one of the things I've really adopted in my mindset now is just expect nothing and appreciate everything. And a lot of things change and open up in your life.
I love it. So, Steve, how do they get a hold of you if they want to come see you at the shop?
Or they can find me at 7420 District Boulevard, Sportlander West, right across the street from Nestle.
I like it. So, Alex, how will they get a hold of you? Give them the rundown, and we're going to get a couple copies of his book, Steve.
Yes, please.
And tell them how they get a hold of you. If you're out there and you're young, I would suggest that you look up Wons Wellness. I really would be a big recommendation.
Yeah, so there's wonswellness.com. You can contact me on there through the website, or if you want a plan, there's conqueryourself.co for the book, or you can get it off Amazon as well. And then email is awons@conqueryourself.co. And I'm really active on LinkedIn too, so feel free to reach out there. I know I've said it on previous episodes, but I've had a lot of great mentors and coaches who've helped me on my journey, and I'd like to be able to pay it forward as well. So please feel free to reach out.
I love it. I'm still thinking about his launch of his book, Steve. I'm going to brag on him. And if you're out there, this is just him, because he had a launch for his book. So he rented the back half of a small shop, but he didn't want it to be about himself. He brought in other people to motivate them and for his book launch. So I just see, you keep that attitude, Alec, you're going to go a long way.
Tom, what was the name of that book again?
It's called Conquer Yourself.
On Amazon, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. You want to go out there and grab that. Alec, it's been such a great opportunity to meet you, talk to you on the phone. I do think that we've got other things that we would like to jump in and help you with. So there again, you take care, and God bless. And if you're out there, like us, share us, get a hold of Alex, get a hold of Steve, drop us a comment on this. But keep watching. Got a lot of good episodes coming.
I'm really sad we didn't get a chance to talk about him running half naked in Kansas City. We'll have to save that for another episode.
His coach said impressed him. That impressed me too.
Yes.
So we got an episode coming up on shoes. I'm really excied about that.
Oh, right down my alley.
You didn't even see my new shoes, Steve.
Yes, I did. I make shoe contact before I make eye contact.
Are you a shoe guy, Alec?
Yeah, I like some shoes. Those are some nice ones.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying we're shoe guys, and Steve's got a collection that anybody would be envious of. So. You guys take care. Thank you for watching. God bless.